Mercury is entering Cancer on June 8th at 6:58 p.m. Eastern Time. The 8th is Sunday, based on my time zone. So we have Friday, Thursday, Friday, we have Venus changing signs. A couple days later, we have Mercury changing signs. Mercury is the innermost planet. It is the fastest moving planet. This one is about your thoughts, your communication. So it could be things that you are ruminating on, that you want to talk about, that you're suddenly preoccupied with. And where our mind is going, where our attention is going, is shifting from Gemini, where it is now, where it's been for the last couple weeks, and it is moving into Cancer, which inherently means we're going to be shifting some of our attention, some of our communication, thoughts around Cancerian ideas. Cancer is a water sign, the cardinal water sign. It's very emotional, highly intuitive. It is the caretaker energy. It is the mother. It is moon ruled. So when we make that kind of a shift, it means that, or suggests, it suggests that we could have maybe some intuitive insights dropping in. Because if our thoughts are connected to Cancer and Cancer is intuitive, anytime Mercury is going through a water sign, we can have some more of those aha moments, which is great. We love to get more information, and we're coming off fresh from a Mercury cazimi, which was at the end of June. So just a couple weeks later, we had that Mercury cazimi. If you missed that, you can check the video on my YouTube channel. We had the Mercury cazimi right at the end of May. And then now, early in June, it's already switching signs. So it's picking up a different type of energy. And it will be in Cancer for basically the rest of June after this point. So it doesn't move out of Cancer until the 26th. And then after that point, it's going to retrograde. So our next retrograde period is going to start in July. So we can keep an eye out on that, but I will be discussing that as we get closer. So don't worry about it now. Just think about it's going to be still in forward motion. What can we harness? What can we get out of Mercury being in Cancer? How can we use it to support our communication, our mental processing, our information processing? Now, with Mercury in Cancer, we have a window here of a few weeks' time where we can focus our attention and our conversations on the Cancerian areas of life. As I mentioned before, we could have a heightened intuition. We could have a spike in our EQ, emotional intelligence. We could also have sharper recall because it's about the mind, and Cancer is associated with ancestral heritage. So maybe we're very nostalgic. Maybe we are, thinking about memories a lot. We want to go down memory lane, or we're remembering things more. So not that we're living in the past, but we're able to pull things from the past into the present. Mercury will be in Cancer from June 8th through the 26th. So just under a month. It's like, in and around 3 weeks worth of time. First house. So if you have first house, Cancer rising, what up? If you have first house Cancer, then it means that we are looking at your sense of identity, how you are showing up in the world, not reputation 100%, but how you appear. It's like your physical appearance. Like, what do you look like? Classic for if you have like a Venus transit, as an example, through a first house, then maybe you're like getting a haircut or something, or changing your sense of style. When we have Mercury, which is about your thoughts and your communication, you could be reflecting on, especially for Cancer, it's a very reflective sign as a water sign, reflecting on who you are, what you offer, what you are representing, who you want to be as a person. You might be talking about it more. You may be getting your pitch sharpened, like a sales pitch, or your bio. Like, how am I defining myself? Who am I? And how can I say that to people? Maybe you're using some different language on that. And for the 12th house, the 12th house obviously is coming right before the first house. The 12th house is related, unrelated. It's very deep introspective work. So it's like the soul searching. So if your mind is going into soul searching, it's not even just who am I? It's like, why am I the way that I am? What are my wounds? What do I need to heal? What do I need to uncover? What do I need to face? So we could be thinking about some of those darker topics or thinking about wanting time alone. So right now, with Mercury in Gemini, it's in my 12th house. And I have been very social. I've been in a lot of meetings. I've been talking to people, but then I keep having this pull of like, okay, I just want to be by myself. I need like time alone to think. And that's a little bit of the energy of Mercury in the 12th house. So Nancy, you may be kind of straddling between those. So you could be starting with 12, and then as you move into the first house, it's in the light of day. So you have done the things that you need to think about, sort out, ponder in private, and then as you move into the first house, you're expressing it and you're sharing it. Carrie says, how fitting, my daughter turns 2 next week. So lots of reminiscing coming up. Yeah. And that's corresponding to 5th and 6th house. And Carrie, 5th house is children. So that makes a lot of sense, your mind being focused on your children. So if that's at the beginning, then you're thinking about play, joy, your not even ancestral line, your descendant line, and then it moves into 6th house, which is your routine and your physical health. So maybe you were thinking about her at the beginning, and then you're thinking about myself. How am I balanced? What am I giving? What am I offering? How can I make sure to reset the scales a little bit? So it's a bit starting on specifically children. Obviously, we have 4th house as family, but 5th house has children in it. So some of them they borrow from each other. Like we have siblings as 3rd house, but then 4th house is family, but then 5th house is children. And so they kind of overlap, intersect, I should say, with each other. 10th house for Marika is career and reputation. So again, this is your thinking. You're putting the mental energy into, what is my reputation? What do I want to do for my career in the long term? Like, I want to understand where I'm going. Where is this job going? Where's this career going? Like, what do I want to do next? Do I want to pivot? Do I want to do something else? So there could be a lot of thoughts, a lot of talk. Maybe you are having conversations with managers or supervisors at work about your next steps, or doing a review of some sort of your goals and your aspirations for your long term in your career, or doing a presentation or something that is reflecting your history. Maybe you're updating your LinkedIn, you're writing something, you're updating your resume, writing about your career history and writing about your skill set, the things that you want people to know you for. Chantel, we're talking about the entire sign of Cancer. So whatever's overlapping. Oh, you do have 3 houses in it. That's very rare. So it just kind of depends on the person, but most of the time it tends to be 1 or 2 for people. So for you, I mentioned 5 and 6 before, but the 4th house is family. So in the very, very early degrees, which would be happening starting on the 8th, you'd be picking up some of the family ancestry. So it could be like ethnic origin, cultural origin, some of the memory lane stuff, which is already inherent in Cancer. But we're thinking about, where have we come from, or wanting to talk to family, wanting to spend time with family. And then 5th house is moving into children, play, creativity. It has a bit of the sensuality in there too. So it's like pleasure seeking. So we're thinking about, how can I have more fun with my time? And maybe that is related to children, or maybe it's just you as an individual. And then 6th house is the balance. It's what's my job right now. So for Mariko, I was talking about what's my career arc. Or for 6th house, it's like, what's my current job? How am I balanced with that? Like, how is that going for me? How's my physical health? Like, is it draining me? 6th house, I didn't mention this before, also includes pets. So you could be thinking about getting a pet, or taking care of one, or reflecting on memories of a pet long past. if we're pulling in some of the Cancer nostalgia piece. So there's a lot of different ways that this can be sliced. You're very welcome. I have Jupiter and Chiron in Cancer too. Yeah, so that's another great point to consider for any of these transits. If you happen to also have natal placements, then that means that Mercury, which moves very quickly, is going to run those over. So there's going to be days which you could look. So if you go to astroseek.com, they also have a transit chart, and you'd be able to determine which exact day is Mercury going to pass over the degree point of your natal Jupiter and your natal Chiron. And what you'd want to consider is likely on the Jupiter day, there's a lot of luck there. There's expansion, there's growth. So you're thinking even bigger picture. So I don't know which of the 3 houses those are in, but you could have expansion, growth, some aha moments connected to either your ancestry or play, sense of joy, pleasure seeking, or work. So again, it depends on which house it's in. That's why that matters. And then when it goes over Chiron, it's going to be thinking about wounds. It's going to be thinking about growth points and reflective. So that might feel like a stickier day. So you can look. Both of them are in the 5th house. So if both are in the 5th house and they're relatively close to each other, then I would potentially look ahead. You can mark those on your calendar because it's likely that that Jupiter day will feel much more supportive for you, and the Chiron day might feel a little bit heavier. So if you're planning your calendar, maybe not getting together doing things with people on that Chiron day, because you're going to be thinking about some of the stuff that's heavier in relation to fun, in relation to pleasure. So it's like it's like having wounding inherently in fun, in joy, in that type of a connection, or in relation to children, as an example. So yeah, that's why I always recommend to people, if you're doing this exercise, wonderful. If you want to add on your natal placements, you can look up those days and you can kind of flag them and either be mentally prepared, especially for Mercury, because it's about your mind, or to look back on it. But if you can flag them, then it gives you a checkpoint to say, oh yeah, I guess I did have a lot of stuff coming up about that. Carrie, I've got a note, I can't remember which, north or south. So how you can tell the difference is the nodes look like a horseshoe. So the north node is going to point up, the rounded part's up, and the south node looks more like a U, so it's pointed down. And that will tell you which one is which. Hump points to north. Yep. So is it your north node that is in there in Cancer? Yes, and you said that was your 5th. Was that in the 5th or the 6th house? Because I know you have a split. 5th. Yeah. Honestly, that's so perfect with what we were talking about with thinking about your daughter, because when we're talking about North Node, it's leaning towards our purpose too. So it's like you're reflecting on part of your purpose in moving towards joy, in having this child, and continuing your legacy and passing things on, infusing joy within her. So it definitely will pull up. It'll pull up on a lot of things that we're talking about here. Nancy, I have Uranus in Cancer, 12th house. So for the outer planets, they tend to be more collective energies. So it's more about kind of what's going on in society at the time that you were born and what that signals. But Uranus in general is about innovation, a little bit out of the box. It's kind of like the black sheep. So it could mean that you have some out of the box ideas on that day. So things kind of coming out of left field, or you're thinking about something that feels kind of random and you're like, oh, wow, that just popped in. You start getting a little bit crafty of something that you're feeling inspired to maybe act on. Again, this is not about action, and we're also in Cancer, we're also in 12th house, which is wanting to reflect, but you could maybe have almost like a different version of an aha than the Jupiter and Mercury conjunction. It's going to be oh, wow, so what does that mean? And really getting curious and getting reflective in a different way. That's maybe it's introducing you to something that feels brand new or kind of quirky almost.